listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Attack on Titan After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Attack on Titan After Show.
I think I'm just excited to do this after show because I love the theme song so much that I get to start a show with the theme song playing in the background.
It just feels so epic.
It is the most epic song of all time. So, with that said...
What the hell did you just have me watch? Holy God.
You watched it before. John is the one who's the most informed about this show. He's also read the manga, so he knows everything.
Yeah, okay, which I want to say this right forward. People in the chat, yes, we know you could have watched it on Hulu or Netflix beforehand in the sub. Please do not spoil it for the other people. I know you're going to be really tempted, because holy God. But yeah,
so we're going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. But on today's Attack on Titan episode, joining us, we have Katie Cullen.
Hello, everyone.
And we have John Quick.
How you doing?
And guys, I'm Dave Klein. And also, we'll have Megan Salinas, for those of you who watch AFTERBUZZ TV. She'll be joining us regularly for the most part. Today, she's at her cousin's wedding. Cousin's wedding, so I don't know why she would miss Attack on Titan for that. I don't know. Attack on Titan comes first.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
So is Attack on Titan.
I mean, unless your cousin's a dick, why would you go?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Her cousin is wonderful. Her cousin is wonderful.
So she says. So you say. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the episode. So we're going to start with kind of a recap of the episode, and then we'll get into other themes of the show. But the episode's name was The Fall of the Shiganshina District.
Spoilers.
Hey, it was the name of the episode.
I know.
Part 1, I do believe.
Yeah, I actually, like, when I started, I watched the show first on Hulu before it was even on Netflix, and, like, I would refuse to look at the episode title names, because every title was a spoiler for what was going to happen. Come on.
At least they're very honest.
Hopefully, if you're watching on Cartoon Network, they don't do that, but I'm assuming they do. I'm assuming they have
it's part of the title screen. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
just who dashes through in blood.
Well, everything is, like, it's divided up into sagas, so this is, like, the first saga, and then all the other ones will be titled, like, that saga part whatever nonsense.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's, like, multi-part for the sagas for the names of it. But we start right away with Eren having this daydream that's not at all foreshadow in any way.
No.
Not at all. And we get the Scout Regiment. So we get to see the Scout Regiment doing their thing, and we get to find out about 3D maneuvering right away. So I think this is kind of just a good way to get audience instantly into the anime and be like, oh, look, there's action. There's going to be action before we delve into anything else. Look at this cool 3D maneuvering.
Yeah, there's going to be some awesome animation, of course we all know, and it's also going to be really, really just terrifyingly violent, and you're going to be seeing these giant naked things.
You don't see any penises. It's fine.
Yeah,
that's because they don't have any penises.
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah,
no spoilers. Jeez.
Oh, come on. It's in the first 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes of the show is set up so, okay, prophetic daydream, shonen hero, action, blood. This is exactly what you're getting. If you don't like it, back out now.
Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, but you're
giant naked things and
yes,
blood.
Giant naked people. That's what everyone wants.
Oh my! You're gonna get so much more than that because, like, I mean, they promise that you're gonna get shonen heroes. Yes, you're going to get action, but the blood thing. I mean, we've seen blood and violence in animes before. Even in DBZ, they, if they was uncut, it was pretty bloody. This is like
you and I both had the same reaction. Katie, I just kind of look off like DBZ.
Your comparison for this, I was thinking like. Berserk.
I'm thinking like blood.
Berserk is the closest thing to this, actually.
I'm thinking like Ninja Scroll, Blood Rain. Like those are the movies I think of when I think of blood.
Those are tame.
Blood Rain?
Are tame.
Have you seen Blood Rain?
Nobody bleeds purple in Attack on Titan.
Yes.
DBZ is
the
not
name of Blood Rain is Blood Rain. How's that tame?
And Attack on Titan is the most misleading title in the world.
That's true.
In Soviet
Unless you
Russia.
notice. So, but we wake up though with our two, we come like as Eren wakes up, it's our two main characters. I say like the true main, like really main characters, Eren and Mikasa. And we come to meet those two characters. So Eren, crying about his dream a little bit, and Mikasa, kind of the more badass really of the two. Eren's the talker in a lot of ways, and then John has a good analysis for that we'll talk on later. But Mikasa waking him up, and we come to meet some people around, the religious people, as they're going across the wall, and they run into Hans, who's another character here. And we find out about the different regiments. So we get the Garrison regiments, one regiment we find out about, and we have the Scout regiment.
Who, it was Eren says, might as well be the like
Wall construction crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's all they do right now. And I don't know. I guess at the end of the episode, they're gonna have to do more, but they definitely are not up for the job.
Well, they're having a good time, you know.
But he did make the really good point where the Titans haven't gotten in the wall in over 100 years. They're
I mean, that's
dropping
more than
a
his
lot of
lifetime,
information.
multiple
yeah.
lifetimes, and
That's
I think
multiple generations in a city that probably doesn't have anything close to modern medicine. That's probably 3 generations.
And I think the other great point he has too is better to be called a freeloader than to actually have to do our jobs. Because if we're doing our jobs, that's not a good thing. We'd rather have peace and be called freeloaders. So, and I think that's a good point on his end.
Yeah, he has the whole, like, Eren brings up the whole argument of basically, like, freedom versus security. Eren is definitely on the side of we should be free, we should brave the outside world and take it back rather than be shut inside these walls. And Hans is just like, no, let's just stay inside here so you don't get to die horribly by these giant naked things consuming you.
Well, and speaking of dying horribly by giant naked things consuming you,
What a great segue.
Yeah.
we come to meet the Scout regiments, who are all sad and depressed because Moses is dead. Damn it!
Okay.
Moses is dead.
Moses was my favorite.
Okay, you
Hey,
are
did you
playing
see his arm?
He was nothing but an arm.
There was nothing but the arm.
We'll just like play this. So the Scout regiment comes in, and everybody like kind of looks down and spits on them because they go outside the wall. And going outside the wall is taboo, even though it's like these guys' job to go do that. Everyone's like, oh, they're useless freeloaders. They're just going outside the wall, and they're like. They're the ones that are actually fighting the Titans, but everyone's just like, fuck these guys, and they come in and they're injured and dying, and everyone just doesn't care. And then there's this crying mom who just comes up like desperately seeking her son. And the guy, I guess, is the captain. Just like is like, oh yeah,
Get the thing.
and
And that's it. Get the thing.
And they just bring up an arm. It's just like, here's your son.
He's been disarmed. He was very handy.
Oh.
I don't want to point the finger,
That
but
was double jokes there too. 3. Now you get 3. Okay.
start the pun count.
Like that was like the first sign of, wow, this is
Not okay.
wow. I don't.
And then they admit right afterwards that nothing has come from their scouting missions, and something for anyone new to this series, those shouting things that you get there, that's gonna start happening a lot.
Yeah, screaming breakdowns.
Whoa! Air flying through!
Oh yeah.
We probably should have warned you to turn your
Shaking!
volume down before that, but okay.
Yeah. Well, the best thing is he has this massive
I
breakdown, and then
we're
everyone,
back.
and then
Town.
everyone just kind of goes on, and people like, well, that occurred. All right.
5th one this week. Yep.
And Eren not too happy about that, knocking down one of the scouts. But you have to keep in mind though with this. I like how my mic got turned down a little bit after doing that. You have to notice though with this scene though that no one has seen a Titan in the town because it's been over 100 years. And when you get the Garrison regiment talking about it, and you get Hans talking about it, he's like, well, and the walls are 50 meters tall. This is taller than any Titan. That's kind of what he's pointing out. So, I mean, yeah, people in the regiment have seen it because they've gone up on top of the wall to look around. But no one else has seen a Titan. I'm sure from on top of the wall they don't look as big as they are when you're just that high up. But no one's seen it. So no one even really knows what they're supposed to be afraid of. And then as we find out this important key from Automin, who we're going to meet in a moment, bless you, Automin, who we're going to meet in a moment, we find out that, as you were saying, John, it's taboo to even like think about anything outside the walls.
Well, they consider the walls to be gods. at this
And-
point.
or
There's a
that
whole
one group
religion
does.
worshiping
Cool.
the walls.
Yeah, if not gods, then built by God specifically to protect them. And you know, there was that priest at the beginning that even saying like putting up cannons on top of the walls is heretical. That you can't besmirch them, you know, whatsoever. And like really, like putting cannons on top of that thing sounds like a good idea.
Although I consider that guy to be an extreme, like, and a religious
Well,
cultist.
yeah.
He's kind of an extremist. But I mean, going back though, I mean, we'll come back to the whole Mikasa scene. But we as I mentioned, Armin. Let's go ahead and talk about Armin, this other big character we're going to meet, who's being picked on by bullies, and he's the talker here. Like, he's the one who's gonna, he analyzes his bullies as they're picking on them. That's his character. Like, I'm gonna analyze you as you're like trying to beat me up.
Which is the worst thing to do when someone is beating you up. The
I'm going to
absolute worst.
I'm going to stop your aggression with debate. That
You can't debate me, and that must mean I'm right, so you're resorting to violence.
You're
Yeah, we're
absolute-
going to continue resorting to violence.
it seems to be the answer.
They're like,
Good job,
well,
everyone.
we have issues with ourselves, so we're going to beat you up, and I hate myself more for it. It'd be funny if they like talked like that and they actually like openly said their problems as they were doing it.
This isn't the abridged series.
If only. No, I mean, I love Attack on Titan. So
Yeah.
before this, though, which is why we're doing the show. Obviously, if I'd already
Hopefully.
seen the show and I'm watching it again, I love the show. So let's go ahead and backtrack to Mikasa and telling Eren that, as we find out, Eren wants to join the Scout Regiment, and his mom, Carla, is not too happy with it, but Dad's surprisingly cool with it.
Dad's interesting. I don't know what the hell Dad's angle is. He's a doctor, and he has like a secret thing hidden in his basement.
That everyone knows is a secret, but doesn't know what it is.
But he's got the dangling key. I wonder if Carla knows what it is.
I doubt it.
She doesn't seem like she does.
Or she doesn't seem like she cares.
She doesn't
Yeah.
seem like she'd be the person to ask.
No,
Or the type of person who would ask questions.
It's like, Eren, you'll know the secret one day. A key dangling on his.
Well, the other thing to note, like, apparently Aaron's dad, like, there doesn't seem to be that many doctors. Like, I guess there's not many doctors around because, like, everybody responds to him as like, oh yeah, it's the doctor's kid. And then Hans later is like, I have to repay that favor I owe. So Aaron's dad is apparently a pretty, kick-ass doctor.
Well, and when he's leaving the house, he says he's going into the interior to do checkups.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I'd considered him to be like the doctor of this district, but I mean maybe he really is the only doctor, which he needs to start training some people.
If he's the only doctor in the city, why wouldn't they keep him inside the third wall where it's supposedly safer?
You would think that, or also just
You
inside the
would.
third wall for the sake of like he'd be a super important person that they would want it close to them. Like we want them. But that's kind of talking on things that I guess I don't think was explained in this
No.
episode yet, so we should probably talk about
Sorry
that
about
later.
that.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just thinking like, I mean, not that that's like that. I wouldn't consider that a spoiler, honestly. That's just world building stuff, which I don't call a spoiler unless it spoils things that are going to happen. But I wouldn't call that a spoiler. But regardless, he has this big secret in the basement and this key. So I'm sure anyone else is like, but what's the secret? What's it gonna be?
That's a really good question.
Right now, it's just a goddamn MacGuffin. That's all it is.
So something I found really interesting in the scene afterwards where we have Armin is him talking about how it's taboo, according to the royal government, to talk about anything, having any interest in the outside world.
Yeah.
The royal government doesn't want anyone knowing about this. And like he talks about it being for safety, but you have to like wonder really like what's really behind it and why really don't they want anyone knowing about the outside world.
It's not just it's taboo to go to the outside
Like, you
world.
don't
It's
even-
like to talk about, to even ask the question. So what's out that direction is considered a no-no.
Yeah.
And the question is there anything? We have this city that's walled in that we've been introduced to. We have this corps that goes out to explore it, who are looked down upon and hated because of what they do. And you have to wonder, are there any other cities in this world? Are they in contact with anyone? Or do they honestly think that we are the last of humanity living inside these walls?
You know, you also have to wonder, Katie. You also have to wonder if everyone's just crazy too, just thinking that they're going to be safe inside of these walls.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, oh my God, there's a Titan. That was Artemis' lines before the Titan came.
It's like, it's been done for 100 years, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't fall today.
John, come on!
Titan!
This is why it's taboo to talk about it.
Lightning
So we've-
strike.
we've-
And God got pissed. That's what happened. Armin just asked the question. It's just like, God damn it, did somebody ask that question again? Fuck him. Fuck him now.
It's like, that's it, we are done.
Yeah,
That's the third horror movie trope that we've invoked this episode.
Well, that's why it was a lightning strike. It really was like God coming down and saying, "You've seriously just poked the bear one too many times there, kid."
I am done with you people.
And I do want to point out, though, that it's important to say that this specific episode, we're going to be watching everything on Cartoon Network, but we missed the Cartoon Network version of this episode, so we all watched it again on Netflix.
So we're all going to talk about the dub next week.
So we're going to talk about the dub next week, and I know, like, we've all seen the show before, but we've all seen it subtitled, and we do want to talk about the dub and the comparison of the dub to the sub, but we can't do it yet. So next week, we're going to talk about the dub and how it compares to the sub. We just can't yet. So that's also why we're saying Armin, is because that's how you say his name in Japanese.
You're saying Armin.
We're saying Armin.
Yeah.
Well, what if they say Armin? What if that's how they pronounce it in the dub?
Yep.
That's probably how they're
But
gonna...
That's probably how they're
but what
going
if
to
they
do
pronounce
it.
It's a very German name.
But what if they say
Armin?
Armin or Arumin? I don't know. There's
Yeah.
a lot of ways you can say that name.
You're putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
You know what? I just automatically go Arumin because that's how you say it, and that's how I heard it.
Is anybody else like... one of the first things I noticed in this episode is everybody is extremely German in their names, except for Mikasa. Like,
Well, she is Asian.
Spoilers, bro.
Yeah, that's... Spoiler.
Well, you were the one bringing it up. Like,
Yeah.
But
I mean, what do you want me to say?
That's my thing. Like, usually in Japanese shows, like in animes, when they go outside, like a lot of the times they'll have like the characters still have like Japanese names, even if it'll be a medieval fantasy setting. But this time, like everybody was had a German name or was somehow Germanic. Everything about this was Germanic. Is this all taking place in like Germany?
She's the requisite exchange
You do
student.
have to wonder that.
Yeah.
You have to wonder that if that's where it takes place. It's also too like that whole like medieval world type of thing because a lot of it is very medieval in the sense of like castles and the way that things are built up. At least it makes me reminds me of that setting, and I think of a lot of German when I think of that because German had a lot of castles and they were a very medieval setting in terms of what they have. But we do have the introduction to our first Titan, which is this giant one.
The
Colossal
The
Titan.
Colossal Titan. So, you
Not,
just see his muscles.
not a misnomer. It's a very literal name.
It's actually
Well, I
called the Colossal
Well, I wasn't
Titan.
sure if they said in this episode, so I was trying not. I was like, well, it kind of spoiled the Asian thing, so I don't want to spoil that his name is the Colossal Titan. It's hard when you're like, I don't know what I can say and I can't say. Yeah, so the Colossal Titan who just kicks open the wall. I like your what you noticed about him,
If
Katie.
you look at him, he's got little teeny noodle arms. Really, really big legs and little teeny noodle arms, respectively, for a Titan that is over 50 meters tall.
But he didn't punch the wall open. He did
kicked it.
kick it open, so maybe that's why.
Still, he's built like a T-Rex. Big head, little arms.
Yeah, he also he was also like
Exactly.
maybe you get the notion that maybe he can't move that well because he had to lean against the wall in order to do it. Like maybe
That's kind of all the time. They're like,
I think he just wanted to see who he was screwing over before he went for it.
yeah, and then he kicked the wall and just killed a couple people
10
off the bat. Like the
points if
one
I
dude
get
who's
the
pointing. The one guy who's pointing got just killed by the wall being blasted open.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one guy you just know one guy just like pointing at the wall like, so should we do some bam?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, murder, 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 all over the place. People dying, walls collapsing, and Eren and Mikasa running back to their mom as the house has collapsed on top of her, and she's telling them to just run and leave her.
Run away and live. Mikasa, take care of Eren. You know, all the wonderful things you say before bad things happen.
But don't worry, Hans is there to save the day.
Oh, yeah. Hans
yeah.
is there to save the day.
Oh my god, best like disappointment line in the world. You should not underestimate me, Carla. I am going to fight this monster. He
and
runs
save all of you.
Yeah,
Nope.
Denied.
running straight forward, his sword is out. All of a sudden he stops, pisses his pants, runs the other direction, just grabs the kids and just keeps booking it.
He reaches enlightenment, understands how very fragile his mortality is, and decides to do something about it.
Well, when you look at that cute face up there staring down at you,
Oh, the smiling
Yes.
Titan.
I would definitely be like,
Man, is he
nope,
happy to be
nope,
there.
Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, so, and then Eren makes the wise decision to watch as his mother is chewed alive. Just,
Well, admittedly, he did have him facing backwards.
well, that's true. I mean, Mikasa, like, looked around, like, turned, and then as it started happening, she turned away to not watch.
Nope, mm-mm.
But yeah, Eren's just staring at it, and
Mom gets bitten in half, and then her blood becomes cherry blossoms.
Welcome to
Which
Attack on
is
Titan.
dumb, because Titans usually swallow people whole. This is the only one we've seen where it's like, I only want a half portion today.
But I just, yeah, that's true.
Chomp.
But I just love how this show just starts too. It's just like, it just throws you into the fire. Like, this is how this show's gonna be. It just starts running. Like,
It's
you
not
were-
going to get any nicer.
Yeah, if you were expecting happiness, you should really watch any other show.
Yeah. Well, not Madoka.
Yeah.
Madoka gives you 3 episodes before you realize what you're watching.
Well,
So-
there's Love Hina. I mean, I'm sure that's still on somewhere.
Kenshi Muyo. That's a happy, fun show. So,
They're still airing Dragon Ball Z if you want to see a good example of violence.
it's
no.
the little, I mean, people do die in that show, though, so it's a lot
It's a
happier. They're happy when they die,
it's
though.
a revolving door.
And then they can,
They
yeah,
come
they can just
back.
come back to life. Like, let's just like
Death is cheap in DBZ.
So, but let's go ahead and talk about that, though, the violence in the show and the fact that it is really brutal. And right off the bat, you find out immediately in the first episode, like, Ben, guess what, guys? This is how the show's going to be.
Yeah, all right, let's just go back to the arm guy. Moses is an arm now. That's one of our first, like, genuine introductions to the violence of this world and just, like, how just not give a fuck this entire show is about it. Like, you're going to see dismembered limbs. You're going to see bloody, mangled corpses.
You know what, though? They showed the hand. They didn't show the part of the arm
Where
that
it got
was
ripped off.
detached.
The bruised, dirty hand as his mother gripped it. Yeah, I guess that's a small miracle.
What I want to know is whose bright idea was it to just bring back the hand? Can't you say, no, he's missing in action? Can't you say, no, he died so that the rest of us could live? He valiantly gave his life. No, we're bringing you back a hand.
And he didn't fight valiantly, and he didn't accomplish anything, and nothing came of his death.
Yeah.
His last name is Adams. Now that they have a hand, they're the Adams family.
Oh my
Nice.
god, I just got that.
Very nice. So I'm like, I don't think it was on purpose, but if it was, that's brilliant.
I don't think
I
it
like your connection, though.
No, his last name isn't Adams. I made that up for the
okay.
joke.
Fair enough.
I was like, maybe I missed it. Maybe it's Hans.
No.
Maybe it was
No.
not Hans. Hans
Maybe
is
it's
like
Moses
No,
Adams.
It was
it's
Moses
me.
Adams. I don't know.
It was set up.
But
Come
I
on,
mean,
guys.
in that regard, though, maybe it's like it has to do with the world setting and everything, because I mean, we don't know what their religious implications are. Like, maybe that's like maybe you can only go to heaven or whatever if you have part of your body, and the hand will go to heaven by itself. But I mean,
That's
I don't
really
know.
messed
I
up.
guess it is something to say. As she said, the Titans usually swallow people whole, so the notion of getting swallowed whole by Titans is kind of like going to hell. So if you're not wholly swallowed by Titans, maybe that does what
Yeah,
allows
maybe
you.
that's like some sort
Yeah.
of like at least it wasn't his everything. At least we got some of it. But I mean, let's go ahead and talk about the world in general, though, and what we find out. So we know that we have this city that's entirely enclosed by a giant wall, and they've been living here for at least 100 years. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how long they've been safe for, is 100 years. But it's been at least 100 years.
We also know that the Garrison regiment is supposed to, I guess, is supposed to protect like the gates and the walls themselves, and like that's their job. Obviously, they're not a police force because you don't see them outside of next to the wall. And then the scouts are supposed to go out into the world and find out specifically about the Titans. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. Like the guy said, we still don't know anything about them. All these missions, it's all, useless. So the scouts are supposed to find out stuff about the Titans, but for some reason, the only thing that they find out is they really find us tasty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Garrison Regiment, too, I would assume, are supposed to protect the people within their garrison of the
Yeah.
wall.
They're the
outside
next-
just protecting the wall. It's like that final stage.
But they're supposed to protect them from the Titans, and they're
Hans did a really good job.
they're really bad at
Yeah.
it.
Well, the garrison is supposed to be the next line of defense if the wall falls. The wall hasn't fallen in 100 years, therefore, it's a Dragon Riders of Pern thing. We haven't needed the dragons for 100 years, therefore they're useless.
Right.
All of a sudden we need them again. Well, shoot.
Well, they're not trained up properly
Oops.
because of whoops. But they do have, and we see this in the intro scene, which is the 3D maneuvering devices, which you don't find out the name of it, but I'm going to say that's not a spoiler. Telling you what the name is. It's called a 3D maneuvering device.
They
Dave, if
say
you
it.
constantly
They
have
straight up
to
say it.
defend
Look,
it.
let me put it this way. After doing Game of Thrones, having people yell at me about every single thing I say, I'm just so used to that I have to be like, I'm very conscious about it. Because, yeah, Game of Thrones, I constantly get yelled at no matter what I say. So, yeah, sorry.
Well, yeah, it's Game of
I
Thrones,
have
man.
to clarify for all of you that what he has said is, in fact, not a spoiler, okay?
Yeah.
Get over it. It's not a spoiler.
But get over it. It's called a 3D maneuvering device. And what I'm going to refer to is, because that's what it is.
They say it in the episode.
Do they say
in that
episode?
prologue?
Okay, I wasn't sure if they said it in the prologue.
They did.
Okay. So they use the 3D maneuvering devices. I think I was writing a note at that point. So, and since we were watching subtitled, I just so
I really want those things to exist because that's the closest I will ever get to be Spider-Man.
They'll
But
break your back.
Yeah, and then you
They
pointed
will
that
break
out.
your spine.
And
I never
There's
thought
no
about that.
support.
Yeah, you totally shattered all of my dreams in that one go. Because I was just like, I could get a bunch of CO2 canisters and steel cable and totally make this work.
Yeah, your hips would go forward, your torso would not go forward, and there would be problems.
I
Listen,
literally
stop
never...
bringing physics into a show about giant bipeds.
I literally never thought about that. I thought, like, to me, the dangerous factor was, like, oh, if you, like, actually somehow, first, it's, like, latching on to something, but then you latch onto something and get pulled. It's like, you're not stopping. You're just, that's forward momentum. You're going to smack into a wall and die. But now you bring in another thing. Way to break everything. Like,
My apologies for
you
applying
ruined the
logic.
you ruined the show for me, because 3D maneuvering was the best thing in the world, and...
If a piece of
I
equipment is
hate
the
you,
best
Katie.
thing about this show, you must not like the show very much.
I hate you, Katie.
I love you too.
No, I just love the 3D maneuvering thing. It's just so cool. It's
It
so
is.
badass.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing though that we find out, and we've seen that scene that seems to be what they're using to fight the Titans. Is this device?
Which is weird to consider because they have cannons. We clearly see cannons. Why are you getting into melee distance with something that
Spoilers.
Well, he didn't say why. He's just pointing out something.
I'm asking the question, and there's a bunch of jackholes, no doubt, on the chat right now or in the YouTube comments.
Who are saying why.
Why? And spoiling the hell out of everything. Yes.
You'll find out, we promise.
See, I learned this trick after last time I failed at it when John said that. I'm like, oh, let me not answer his question.
Exactly. We could speculate, but that's just like that is the question. That is kind of the question of the day in these early times. Like that's
Right.
what I wondered, and you do find that out.
And I think, like, to me, the big wonder, too, is just, in general, just is about this world, and, like, why is it so bad to look outside? Why is it taboo to ask about the outside world? Why is that really taboo outside of just, like, that basic explanation of, like, well, we don't want the Titans to attack us, and maybe let's just, like, it's that whole theory of if you don't look, it's not really there. Like, when you're in bed, like, if I don't look at the closet, there's not really a monster in the closet. It's that same idea.
Or they think the Titans are like zombies and that if you go outside and a Titan follows you home, it'll...
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we see Titans
Yeah.
crawling at the like clawing at the walls, and I mean they look like big affable drunks.
Oh, you told me not to apply logic to the series, so I'm not.
Actually, I think it would be great. John, you actually know the backstory behind why the Titans are the way they are.
Well,
You
yeah.
delve into that. I don't think it's a spoiler, is it? to delve into
It's a spoiler
Yes.
because part of this whole series, you'll find out that is the lack of information. Lack of information is a huge part of this show. How little people know, and how that and why that is all very important.
Well, in a future episode, then, we will discuss why the creator of the show created Titans in the way that
Oh
they
wait,
are.
oh you mean talking about that? Well, yeah,
Yeah.
no, there is a real story behind that behind the Titans. The creator of
That was what I
Viserion-
meant,
Yeah,
was
oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the creator of Viserion got the inspiration for the Titans when he was working, I think, as a busboy at a restaurant, and there was this guy who was just like blackout drunk, and they were trying to get him out, and then they just said like there was like nothing on his face. Insofar as like you could read, he just had this like stupid affable grin and would just get violent at a moment's notice without like almost any provocation. So that's where the inspiration for the Titans were, and that's why they look like big dumb drunks.
Yeah, that was, I mean, because, like, you noticed that the first episode, how their faces were like, as they were killing
Hi, my
everybody.
buddies.
And yeah, I just remember John, actually the reason I wanted you to tell the story is because John told me that story before I saw Attack on Titan, so I thought you should be the one to delve into it. But
And I didn't know that story. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, we should mention real quickly the characters, and John, you had a great, as I pointed out earlier, you had a great analysis for
They're
them.
part of what the classic Japanese holy trinity of the mind, body, and spirit, and it's like what they're supposed to embody. Eren is the spirit. His will never be broken. Mikasa is the body. She is just like a physical badass, and Armin is the mind. He's just going to be the guy that's going to be analytical and to be able to like just break things down and, you know, come up with the plans. I can't lay claim to that. I actually got that from Yezu Otaku.
I was wondering. That sounded really familiar.
Yeah. So I can't lay claim to that one, but it's really good analysis. And if you look at a lot of Japanese anime, that trinity shows up a lot once you know about it.
And also, if you look at Zelda, Metroid, and Mario, that trinity exists. That's just what people call it. That's not actually doesn't. The actual analysis doesn't apply to it. That's just people refer to it as the Holy Trinity. But yeah, so we do meet that trinity of characters, and we'll talk about them more in the future episode, but we've gotten at about 30 minutes here, and it's a 30-minute show, so let's go ahead and wrap up, since we should go longer than the show itself. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, and make sure to check us out. If you guys want to watch us live, we're live every single week, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays. So Sundays, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, tune in. I'll actually have a live chat with me. I'll have it open. There's a live chat. I'll have that open, so if you guys want to interact with us, throw in your opinions and thoughts, we'll have the live chat open so you guys can chat with us as we talk about the show. So with that said, guys, once again, I'm Dave Klein. You can find me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein. That's Klein.
And you can find me at NowQuick on Twitter.
I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me at Kiaxet on Twitter, Kiaxet.
And well, I hope you guys enjoyed. And we're not going to do predictions for this show because we're not going to do it. So we will talk to you guys next time. See you
really
later.
Predictions, yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.